Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you my match reaction for the Real Madrid Manchester City game that ended Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2 yesterday night in the last 16 of the Champions League first leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. From Manchester City perspective, they'll be really delighted with the result. Manchester City have got them two vital away goals, and now that does mean that Real Madrid have now got to score 3 times at the Etihad Stadium to progress to the last 8 of the competition and that. So, Manchester City will be very delighted, and it was a historic night for Manchester City also, because it is the first time ever they have beaten Real Madrid in the Champions League. But, you've got to give Man City a lot of credit. I thought they really dominated the game. I thought their approach to the game was very, very good. I thought, they tactically, got it right. Their tactics, nullified Real Madrid well. And also, their formation was very, very good. Pep Guardiola, did make a few changes, from City's 1-0 win against Leicester, last weekend. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva were in them false number 9 roles, but I thought, worked really, really hard. Guardiola did decide to drop Aguero and David Silva, they were on the bench. Also, Fernandinho didn't start the game. Also, Raheem Sterling didn't start the game, but they did, come on in the game and that. But, Manchester City, could have actually, scored more than 2 goals in the game, because, they did create some good chances. I thought Gabriel Jesus had a really, really good game for Manchester City. He was playing in a different role, wasn't he, Gabriel Jesus? But I still thought he had a good game, created some good chances. Raheem Mahrez could have got his name on the score sheet. He created some good chances. Basically, I thought Real Madrid, scored against the run of play, because Real Madrid didn't really create much, until they scored. Obviously, I think the best chance Real Madrid had in the first half was from Benzema, but it was a good save by Edison. So I think that was one of Real Madrid's best chances. The goal that did come from the run of play, was from Isco. Vinicius Junior, of course, had got the assist. But, I think, was it Kyle Walker who was to blame for Real Madrid's first goal? Manchester City's equaliser, was from Gabriel Jesus. Kevin De Bruyne had got the assist, and it was a very, very good header from close range, and that was 1-1, or was it a header? I can't remember. And the second goal, came from the penalty spot from Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, Raheem Sterling had been brought down, and, that was a penalty, and Kevin De Bruyne had scored the penalty, and that's now his 50th goal for Manchester City in all competitions. And Kevin De Bruyne, made a fantastic impact. The only negative for Manchester City is that Benjamin Mendy is suspended because, he'd been yellow carded in the game. And Benjamin Mendy just recently recovered from injury for Manchester City, and also too, Laporte had come off with injury. Now we don't know the extent of Laporte's injury, but he's just recently come back from injury as Laporte. So from Manchester City perspective, they'll be hopeful that it's not too severe. Of course, Leroy Sané didn't play any part in the game because obviously he's still continuing in his rehabilitation from his injury. He has been out of injury for the vast majority of this season, but City will be delighted now that Raheem Sterling is back after he was out for like 3 weeks. I thought Ilkay Gundogan also had a really, really good game for Manchester City. Fernandinho did very, very well, when he came on in the game. Otamendi wasn't so bad either, Obviously, I don't think he played against Leicester at the weekend. I thought he did really, really well at the back for Manchester City in that. But you have got to give Manchester City credit, I didn't expect Manchester City, to win at the Santiago Bernabeu. I thought Real Madrid, would have won it because, the Spanish League has been good, for a lot of years, but taking into account in recent years, it hasn't been as good as the Spanish League. And, we have seen Real Madrid's dominance over the years. Of course, taking into account they are the most successful team in the Champions League because they have won the most Champions Leagues. They have won 13 of Real Madrid. Of course, Real Madrid, will be very, very disappointed, could be going out of the last 16, like they did do last season. They went out of the last 16 to Ajax, and that's when, of course, they did recommend Zinedine Zidane back in after he did walk out of the Real Madrid job, and then he was managerless for 9 months. Don't forget, they did have Santiago Solari at one point, did Real Madrid and that. But, they'll be very, very disappointed with Real Madrid. I think they are sitting second in La Liga. They also lost at the weekend to Levante 1-0. That was their first defeat in La Liga since September. Real Madrid, of course, had a few injuries. Eden Hazard, of course, wasn't involved in the game because he's been out with an ankle problem as Eden Hazard. Of course, Bale did come on in the game. He's just recently, come back from illness, hasn't he? So too Luka Jovic, he's just recently come back from illness. They've got Diaz out with injury. Also too, Marco Asensio is out. So Real Madrid have had quite a few injuries this season. They'll also be very, very disappointed with Sergio Ramos getting sent off in the game as well. Sergio Ramos had fouled Gabriel Jesus, and he did get sent off in the game. So I think that's the 26th time now that Sergio Ramos has been sent off as a Real Madrid player. So he will be missing the second leg. So that's positive news for Manchester City in that. But like I mentioned, the Champions League is a priority for Manchester City because that's the only trophy, they haven't won in their history, Manchester City, but they have won everything else. City, don't forget, did progress to the Champions League semi-final. That's the closest they've ever come to winning it. They did get past the last 16 last season, the thrashed Schalke 10-2 on aggregate. And, Manchester City, could win the Champions League this season, despite the fact, that they haven't got a great pedigree in the Champions League of Manchester City and that. But, Pep Guardiola does want to win it with Man City. He has won it as manager. He did win it when he was at Barcelona, did Pep Guardiola. And I think, City are going to, win the Carabao Cup this season. I think they're definitely, going to beat Aston Villa, so they're going to get some silverware on the board. Don't forget they are in the FA Cup. They're not going to win the Premier League of Manchester City, obviously, because they're sitting 22 points behind Liverpool and Manchester City. And, they've lost as many games this season in the Premier League than they have done in the last 2 seasons combined of Man City in that. But, they're focusing on, now the Champions League, definitely in that. And, there was very, very good last season, of course, winning the league by a point. There was very, very good the season before where Man City, registering 100 points in one single Premier League season. But yeah, still a very, very good team of Manchester City. Like I mentioned, Manchester City are banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons, and this is one of the main explanations as well why they want to win it this season. They have appealed against the decision. They've thrown a lot of money at the appeal of Manchester City. And from a City perspective, they'll be hopeful that they can get this overturned. Even if they don't get overturned, I don't think Pep Guardiola will leave Manchester City in the summer. I know there was rumours of Guardiola leaving. He came out saying, if Manchester City don't win the Champions League this season, he could be sacked by Manchester City. These are some of the stuff that Pep Guardiola, was coming out with, but I don't think, it will happen. But so I don't think they'll get the ban overturned because they've been given this ban obviously for breaking financial fair play rules. There was reports saying that they could have points deducted from them in the league, but that's not the adequate punishment. The adequate punishment is the ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. Pep Guardiola is still one of the best managers in the world. One of the most decorated managers of all time, reflecting on, the amount of silverware he's won. Obviously, he's won 7 major honours so far as Manchester City manager. It's looking like he's going to be winning his 8th when they do beat Villa in the final. City, of course, last season won the domestic treble. They've won back-to-back Premier League titles. There was hope in this season they could have won their 3rd title on the trot and that. I think they've won the FA Cup and they've won a few League Cups. Actually, if they do win the Carabao Cup this season, Man City, it will be their 3rd Carabao Cup on the trot. Definitely in that. And, Manchester City have spent a lot of money in the last 4 or 5 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why they have been so good. Pep Guardiola spent over £1 billion in his managerial career. That's including what he spent when he was at Barcelona and Bayern Munich, but more than half of that has been invested into that Manchester City team. And I do believe Pep Guardiola will try and make more signings in the summer. It'll be interesting to see how Guardiola does approach the summer, to be quite honest with you. Maybe on the other hand, City could maybe get rid of a couple of players. But I've got to say, that performance yesterday from Manchester City was absolutely unbelievable. Defensively did well. Jesus defensively did well. Showed a good attacking intent. But yeah, very, very good performance by Manchester City. There was supposed to play Arsenal, wasn't there? But obviously, due to the final, they can't play Arsenal, so that has been postponed. Real Madrid, like I said, they are still a really, really big club of Real Madrid. They've also spent a lot of money. Real Madrid are one of the richest clubs in the world, like Manchester City. Real Madrid last summer, did recruit quite a few players in. I think they made around 6 signings last summer, did Real Madrid. Of course, they paid quite a lot of money for Eden Hazard. Also, too, they bought Luka Jovetic from Frankfurt for around 60 million. They got Rodrigo in. Did Real Madrid, they got Rodrigo in. They also got Eddie Militao in. Did Real Madrid. They also got Eddie Militao in, and I think they got someone else in as well, did Real Madrid. So yeah, they did sign around 5 or 6 players last summer, did Real Madrid, and spent over £200 million on them. Yes, they did, and from my own perception, I don't think Real Madrid have been the same team since Cristiano Ronaldo left. Don't forget Ronaldo endured 9 years with Real Madrid, so he was a long-serving player. Real Madrid did pay around £80 million for him from us. Obviously, they lost Kovacic to Chelsea, they lost Marcos Llorente to Atletico Madrid last summer. So Real Madrid have lost quite a few key players in recent years. Also, too, they've purchased a hell of a lot of players from the Premier League of Real Madrid since 2000. I think they've purchased around 25 players from the Premier League and that. But they are still a very, very big club, are Real Madrid. But I don't think they're as good as they used to be. Barcelona are not as good as they used to be. The Spanish league is not as good as it was, before and that. But Real Madrid have still got a lot of good players in their team. Benzema, very, very good player. Rafael Varane being a long-serving player for them. He's a very, very good centre-half. Isco, he's been a long-serving player at Madrid. You've got Toni Kroos, who's still there. I think he's in his 6th season now at Real Madrid. He's Toni Kroos. It's Toni Kroos. So yeah, they've got quite a few long-serving, players in their team of Real Madrid. But they will be very, very disappointed with the result and that. And from a Real Madrid perspective, they'll be hopeful that they can go to the Etihad and score 3 times. But it's very, very difficult to win at the Etihad because City have lost a few times there. But teams seldom win at the Etihad Stadium. They've got a very, very good home record of Manchester City. They have got a very, very good home record and that. Madrid, obviously, have still got Bale there as well. I'm surprised Gareth Bale didn't leave Real Madrid last summer. He was obviously, linked with a move to China. He got offered around £1 million to go and play in China, did Gareth Bale. I think now he's into his 7th season with Real Madrid, is Bale. Real Madrid did pay £85 million for him from Tottenham back in 2013. Very injury-prone player is Gareth Bale, so he's still at Real Madrid. But yeah. So Real Madrid, will be very, very disappointed. But I read some of the stats from yesterday night's game. City created a lot of chances. I think they created a good 12 chances. Real Madrid, I can't remember how many chances Real Madrid had, but City, I think, had around 16 shots in total in the game. So they should have actually, scored more than 2 goals, should Manchester City. Of course, Manchester United go up against Club Brugge tonight at Old Trafford in the Europa League last 32 second leg. I will be giving you my match reaction either after the game tonight or it will be tomorrow morning. Of course, you saw my preview for that game yesterday, and I think Manchester United are going to win it because Solskjaer won't take any risks in the game against Club Brugge tonight in the second leg. Of course, he did get a lot of things wrong in the first leg. Obviously, what he got wrong was playing Pereira and Lingard. They should have never played. He also, put Luke Shaw at centre-half. He didn't start Fernandes, Fred or Odi Nagalo. Mason Greenwood didn't play the first leg due to illness, but I don't think Solskjaer will take any risks. He may rest a couple of key players with Everton being on the horizon, because Everton is going to be a very, very big game for Man United. But the Europa League is a priority for us. It's a chance of us getting silverware on the board. Plus, it's another route to Champions League football. Because if we win the Europa League, we'll get automatic qualification for the Champions League. But, we got that vital away goal in the first leg against Bruges. Martial had scored it. And as you all know, away goals do count. But I'm very convinced Manchester United will win tonight against Club Brugge. Obviously, we virtually had a full squad at the Aon training complex yesterday. Solskjaer confirmed we did sustain a few knocks in training, but the only players that weren't involved were Rashford, Pogba and Lee Grant, because they're long-term absentees for Man United. Foster mentioned Tuanzebe stepping up their fitness regime, but they're close to a reserve game. They're close to a reserve game or behind closed doors, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirmed. So it's good that they're coming back. McTominay's just recently come back for us, which is very, very good. McTominay. Also, too, Bay's just recently come back for Man United and that. But he will make some changes from the 3-0 win against Watford. But we are in a good run of form at the moment. 5 clean sheets in our last 6 games in all competitions. We're unbeaten in our last 6 games in all competitions and that. So we are in a good run of form. Which is very, very good to see. So hopefully, we can continue this consistency up. And we have, got games coming up thick and fast. So rotation is going to be key. We will make rotation, with the games that Manchester United have got coming up. But I'm very convinced, that we will beat Club Brugge. Solskjaer may go with a 4-2-3-1 tonight, like he has been doing, on a regular basis this season. Or he may revert to three at the back. From my own perception, we look much better with 3 at the back. We look more expansive with 3 at the back, definitely in that. But like I said, your match reaction, will be coming up for that game. It will be coming up for that game and that. Obviously, I gave you the news, didn't I, regarding Ed Woodward yesterday and that. Ed Woodward has come out and said he's still determined to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer despite, the debt rises and our fall in revenue. I think our revenue is predicted to drop by around £70 million this year from around 627 million. The main explanation for this is with us obviously not being in Champions League this season. Solskjaer obviously did say Man United will suffer even more if we obviously don't get Champions League again. And Solskjaer did mention this in his press conference building up to the game. But we are a big club, with big finances like Solskjaer was saying, but we are in debt, as you all know. We have been in debt, now for a long time. But of course, Luke Shaw, is happy playing under Solskjaer. He's happy with the impact Solskjaer has made. Since he took charge at Man United, he's put smiles on the players' faces. This is what Luke Shaw came out with regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Luke Shaw's ambition is to play in a final, because I don't think yet he has played in a final since his arrival at Man United, and now he's into his 6th season at the football club. Also, Solskjaer praised Bruno Fernandes during the press conference, because he knows, Bruno Fernandes has made a fantastic impact and he makes the difference in our team. His decision making is very, very good, and scored his first goal against Watford last weekend for Manchester United. Also has provided 2 assists so far as Bruno Fernandes, but he has made a fantastic impact. I think there's quite a few players that are flourishing under Solskjaer's guidance. Fred's doing really, really well. Solskjaer said he's impressed with Matic. Luke Shaw's done well since he's come back, because he was out for 2 months. Martial's in good form. He scored 3 goals in his last 3 games for Manchester United. Rashford's been in good form this season, obviously before he got injured. Solskjaer did confirm that Marcus Rashford is going to be out until the end. Well, could be out for the rest of the season, but minimum is going to be out for at least the next couple of months is Marcus Rashford. But these players, that are improving. McTominay's done really, really well this season. But, these liabilities in the squad as well. So I'll take that into account. Obviously, we are making plans for the summer, because we have got quite a few players on our agenda who we could go in for. But, we've got likes of Sancho, Grealish, Timo Werner's now on our agenda, but these still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. Ed Woodward, by the way, is lining up a 250 million transfer spree definitely in that. But he's still determined to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We can win the Europa League this season. We can win the FA Cup. We can still finish in the top 4 because we are only 3 points now behind top 4. There's quite a few teams in that top 4 race. Take that into account. So yeah, that's everything to update you with. So that's your match reaction for the Real Madrid Manchester City game. The second leg, by the way, at the Etihad, I think is on the 17th of March. I just want to confirm. But very, very good performance by Manchester City. I've got to give them credit. Yeah. City, have still got big games coming up in the league though this season. They've still got Liverpool to play. They've still got us to play. They've got us to play very, very soon. Hopefully, we can have Paul Pogba back, for the Manchester City game. So, yeah. And, City, like I mentioned, I said before, didn't I? They're not a big club. They've built a great squad, and this is one of the main explanations why they've been so good. City have also got Rick Jonas, so take that into account. But, yeah. So, anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and there'll be more videos coming up.